Hi everyone, so today I'll be doing a review on the Bath& Body Works 3-wick 14.5-ounce candle in the scent Neapolitan Ice Cream. The retail price of this candle is $27.95. However, I purchased it on sale for $9.95 during candle day plus tax. My particular batch code is 5287AG08, and this is a part of the Sunday Funday collection. There's quite a long description online, and it reads, "Here's the scoop. It's Sunday Funday with the sweet strawberry, smooth vanilla, and rich chocolate. This fragrance is the perfect foundation for your sweet and creamy creation. Now this is where the real fun comes in. It's designed to be used alongside the other scents in this collection. Pair it with sugared waffle cone and then top it off with glazed cherries, hot fudge drizzle, butterscotch swirl, and gummy candies for the full Sunday bar experience." Fragrance notes: strawberry sauce, vanilla buttercream, milk chocolate. To briefly talk about the packaging, I like that Bath& Body Works did something new and they had silicone lids. Now they're all the same color. It's this like mint green or teal color. And I personally think in some of the packaging, it looks a little bit odd or it doesn't really go, especially with the hot fudge drizzle. And even this one, I feel like maybe since it's kind of a light pastel, it goes with the light pink, chocolate, and white color. But yeah, one bad thing about it is that it's a pet hair magnet. If you have cats, if you have dogs, it really clings onto that. So you have to occasionally wipe down the lid. For me personally, I find it really easy to take the lids off and put them back on. To talk about the wraparound packaging, I really enjoy it, how it has different colors that corresponds to a Neapolitan ice cream. So at the top, you have the pink color, which represents strawberry, the brown color, which represents chocolate, and of course, white representing vanilla. I personally feel that since the label has a bigger layer of, of the chocolate or the brown color, I thought I was going to smell predominantly the chocolate note. However, that is not necessarily the case on cold specifically. So on cold in the store, I do have to say out of the collection, this candle is definitely the lightest. So the strength on cold, I give it a 4 out of 10. That was one of the reasons why I was hesitant to purchase one, but I really enjoyed the fragrance. So to me, the main note that I got on cold was definitely that strawberry sauce. It seemed really realistic, at least to my nose. After that, I got a bit of the vanilla, and then towards the back was the chocolate. So initially on cold, I thought, hey, if you don't like chocolate fragrances, this might be okay for you. However, I feel like that note comes out more when you go to burn it. Very realistic, photorealistic almost. And I think on cold, when I first opened up the lid, I feel like this candle captures that coolness, like when you open up the ice cream container, that label thing, safety seal, I guess, that you know that no one has licked your ice cream or tampered with it. Really enjoy that. One thing about this candle, though, that got me a bit worried is that it has the stiffer, stubby, like rope wicks. And I feel like those have a tendency to dud out in the halfway mark. This is only my fourth burn, and so far it hasn't given me any issues. But if there are issues to be had, they would pop up in the 50 per, like the later half of the candle is what I'm trying to say. All right, so here's an overhead view of the candle. I feel like my flames are medium strong, and I am being a little bit hesitant on trimming my wicks, so I'm being more conservative because with these thicker rope wicks, they tend to dud out in the midway mark, and I don't want that to happen. So they might be a little bit stronger than I would like. So anyways, to briefly talk about the first burn, I did not trim my wicks beforehand, or better yet, my sister didn't trim her wicks beforehand. And so far, we've been keeping the burn time under 4 hours. I do have to say that I do notice a little bit of wick mushroom fallout in the candle, but the color hasn't changed. But I definitely feel like that's a possibility. So where we differ for this candle specifically is definitely the strength. So I think I would give this candle closer to a 5.5 or a 6 out of 10. I think my sister would give this more like a 7 out of 10, but I think she's partial to the fragrance. Spoiler, she ended up getting a backup and so did I. But we also want to try lamping or crocking this candle. But okay, my main issue is that I feel like this is one of those fragrances that I can I don't know, it's very much a background scent. It can be a little bit elusive, and I feel like the strength concentration in the room, it has pockets. So it performs a little bit like a natural candle, quote unquote, or like 100% soy. But the great thing about it is that despite it being a little bit lighter on strength, at least for me personally, I feel like the projection is great. However, I have to have this burning for about 2 hours. So the projection isn't great. Under the 2 hour mark, but the scent does travel. But at the same time, I feel like when it travels, I feel like sometimes it takes the fragrance concentration from one room and it pushes it out, if that makes sense. So I would love if this candle was a bit stronger because it's very delicious, very foodie, and even what I'm trying to say is that no one in this house dislikes this candle because it smells very much like a very well executed edible fragrance. Now, to talk about the fragrance while burning, I do have to say that I noticed that on cold, I got a little bit more of the strawberry note, and that has slightly changed. Initially, when this candle is pulling out, I do get the strawberry a bit more. It's very present. I think it kind of acts like a top note. And then the longer that I have this burning for, that vanilla note really takes center stage, and even the chocolate kind of overtakes the strawberry note. But I think that's because it's acting more of like a middle or bottom base layer, if I'm explaining myself correctly. And at times, I feel like the vanilla note is taking on this almost like cookie smell to it. So while on cold, I got this subtle coolness that it reminds me of opening up an ice cream jar container while burning. Okay, I don't know if this particular restaurant is anywhere else besides California, but it might be a chain restaurant. So if you've ever gone to BJ's, it's like a brew house. They have something called a pizookie, and this makes me think so much of it when this candle is burning because it's essentially a warm, soft baked cookie, and then they put dollops of ice cream on top. And then, so while the cookie is piping hot, the ice cream is kind of melting and absorbing the ice cream, I guess, juices. Not real juices, but you catch my drift. So I feel like that's happening in this case because the vanilla note is almost taking on this like very soft baked, not crispy cookie smell, but definitely soft baked cookie smell with the ice cream on top. I do have to say initially on cold, I thought this would be one of those candles where if you don't like chocolate, this might be okay for you. However, I really enjoy chocolate fragrances and I am noticing it the more and more that I burn it. So I would say if you really dislike chocolate, you might be able to pick up on it when it's burning, and that might have not been the case when you smelled it in store or on cold. Overall, I would have to say that this Neapolitan ice cream candle from the Sunday Funday collection is really well executed. It smells delicious. And I like how you can smell every bit of the Neapolitan ice cream. You get the strawberry, you get the vanilla, and of course you get the chocolate. I do feel like it smells slightly different when you warm it versus on cold. But overall, my biggest critique is that I wish that the strength was stronger because my scent preference in my medium-sized bedroom is to have at least an 8. Obviously, who doesn't want a 10 out of 10? But maybe because this is a candle that is meant to be paired with something else, that is why it's not stronger because then it'll just be a bit too much. I don't know. That's a theory. But overall, I am really enjoying this candle. Would I recommend it? I would say yes. I'd be a little bit hesitant if you dislike chocolate fragrances because I am able to pick that up more on burning or while burning. I do miss a little bit the strawberry note that I got initially on cold because that one was really delicious. I feel like it didn't read super artificial or super cloying, at least not to my nose. But I think that vanilla note is really mellowing things out. I feel like this candle hasn't been done before by Bath and Body Works. There have been other quote unquote ice cream candles, such as, if I want to say, there was an ice cream bar collection that came out during the summer, and that one was good, but I believe that one had a like chocolate wafer note. That this one is more complex because there's the added strawberry note to it. And of course, since the waffle candle is sold separately, that is not present in this fragrance. Though I am getting a cookie note. Let me know if anyone else gets like a soft baked cookie note. while burning. Again, this reminds me of a Pizookie that you would get from BJ's. And overall, I feel like this candle probably would have been great if it would have came out. Oh, grammar. If it would have been out for the summer, because this seems like a perfect summer collection. And during the winter, that's not really necessarily when I want to have, well, I like ice cream, so I want to have ice cream all year round. But during the winter, I feel like people want something cozy like hot chocolate or tea or anything warm. But yeah, I have purchased a backup of it. I would recommend it. I would only kind of warn you that this is a bit on the lighter side. And again, I feel it's fun to mix and match fragrances. However, I feel like if that's the case, that I need to mix it with another candle in order to smell it. I kind of want my candles to perform on their own. But yeah, this would be really nice to mix with, let's say, the gummy bear candy to make it more fruity, the cherry one to make it a little bit more fruity, so on and so forth. I almost forgot, but after I extinguish this candle, it only stays in the space for about 30 minutes or so. So this is not one of the candles that lingers for hours and hours or anything like that. It's a nice, subtle, sweet scent of that melted Neapolitan ice cream. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you have a great day. Okay, bye.